All right, and that was Lights Out by Danny Marks, which is also the closing theme of his radio show, and we have the pleasure of having Danny Marks here right now.
Hi, Hugh.
Hey, Danny.
Hello.
All right. Hi.
Hi.
How's the chocolate?
I haven't tried it yet.
Is that
well,
melted
I know
chocolate?
which. Yeah, it is really good chocolate, but I haven't had any today.
So, Dan, what are we talking about today? Winterfolk is
Winterfolk.
coming up.
That's right. There's a music festival where there once was none. I believe that this is the 5th year, could be the 5th year of Winterfolk, when a fellow named Brian Gladstone decided, you know, there's a lot of folkies, there's a lot of musicians, there are clubs where nobody's doing anything. Why not start a festival in the middle of winter?
Right.
And it's a great idea. So suddenly in February, people are wandering around with big sunny smiles on their faces and acoustic guitar cases, and they're playing folk music, which, as you know, is every kind of music since time began.
Because it's the music of the folk.
Logical, man.
Whoa, you just
That
blew my
healing thing
mind.
really worked. It's true.
Boy, and we need something
is.
to get us through February, you know?
Well, there's Valentine's Day and there's chocolate, and,
chocolate.
and Winterfolk.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. It is amazing to see, because you know you're used to seeing people smiling with guitar cases and that in the summer, but not so much in the winter, and people really get into it.
Okay. Now, what's your connection with it? Are you going to be performing?
Yeah,
I thought you were more of a, jazz guy, rock guy?
I'm an everything guy.
You're an everything...
I'm an everything guy. I've known that music heals for a long time.
Really?
Yeah. And when I was 17, I was a blues man. I was a rock star for a while when I was 20. But when I was 21, I was a has-been for a few years, and I played in topless bars and stuff with my top on Yonge Street when they used to have them, and, you know, go-go bars and that, and worked my way, scrabbled my way back up to the middle where I am now.
That's
Beautiful.
good.
I got to say something, because somebody told me, because... weren't you involved with Edward Bear?
Yeah, that was my first band when I was a teenage rock and roll guy with long hair.
Which is like, going back so far, but those were great songs.
Well, yeah, the big song that Edward Bear had was "'Cause I'm Thinking of You Down in Mexico," and the even bigger one that they had after I left, and there was some Scientology involved, which I wasn't part of. Yeah, that's another story. Was "It's the Last Song I'll Ever Sing for You." That was a 2 million seller for my friend Larry Evoy, and he loved that. It was great.
Wow.
I love those songs too.
Yeah,
In
man.
fact, I was singing the Mexico song last night to someone.
Well, they're folk songs. They could be folk songs.
You were serenading somebody with that song?
No, I was telling somebody we were having Danny Marks on the show today.
Oh,
I had to tell him, remember that song?
Did you know I was also played with Ricky James, the Super Freak,
Wow.
Because he was in Toronto
and Tiny
for a
Tim.
while,
It was even freakier than Ricky James.
Tiny Tim?
Yeah, they're both dead.
Can you tell us about Tiny Tim? I
Tiny
remember
Tim
he
was
on. He got married on Johnny Carson.
He did, and divorced on Johnny Carson. Tiny Tim was a great guy, and he stayed till the end of the night autographing everyone's ukulele and telling everyone nice stuff, and he was a very kind-hearted guy, and he knew a million songs. He was like a human jukebox from before jukeboxes were invented, and all the songs that he knew had those long introductions. You wonder, what's he going to be singing here? And then suddenly it's school days, and he sang them in all kinds of voices. It wasn't all like the high voice. I know that sounded a bit like Willie Nelson, but
Yeah. Listen, what'd you do? You brought your guitar?
well, yeah, Tiny Tim would fit right in with Winterfolk. The guitar I brought today, it's got 12 strings for extra healing.
Wow.
Traveled around this dusty old town. I worn out deep holes in my shoes. I've been here and there, just about everywhere, but something keeps calling me back to the blues. I've tried love in vain, rode a mystery train in search for some new kind of muse. I've rolled and I've tumbled, lived proud and lived humble, but something keeps calling me back to the blues. Something keeps calling me. Something keeps calling me. Something keeps calling me. Something keeps calling me back to the blues.
That was amazing.
You like that?
Yes, and
I wrote that last month. Cool, eh?
That was really...
Yeah, because I thought you got to write a true song.
Yeah.
And ever since I was a kid, I loved the blues when I was a little kid. I loved Louis Armstrong. My brother taught me Jimmy Reed, which was this. Oh, yeah. I mean, talk about music making you feel good, right? That's all you need. And I loved all kinds of music. But I kept sort of veering away from the blues because too many guys my age, my background, were suddenly claiming blues for their own. It would be like young guys claiming hip-hop when they weren't from that community, so to say.
Yeah.
Like, why were all these old guys suddenly... So I wanted to leave the blues, but man, it kept coming for me. And I kept thinking, why? What's the lesson for me in the blues that I have to keep coming back to it?
And what is it?
Well,
do you think?
You know,
It's one of your callings.
It is. I think that I have to spread the good message, and that it's the medium that I'm allowed to spread that through. And like you on the radio and where we go places, we're trying to inform people about a positive thing. Your show has a very positive spin to it, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
You're looking to spread good news. There's
absolutely.
enough people dwelling on
Do you
that.
have one more song for us?
Well, I guess I do. And since I've sang some pretty sad songs, and we're coming on to Valentine's Day, I tried to learn this one for you a little bit. It's Canadian. There was a guy from PEI they used to call Potato. He met this young Leamington, Ontario tomato. Well, she had eyes for other guys, but he were kind of mushy. And so they said both, let's get wed. They weren't very fussy. Well, big size French fries, how they love tomatoes. Cover 'em up with lots of ketchup. Ketchup loves potatoes. Ketchup loves potatoes. Well, they went down to Windsor town to buy a ring on Monday. Saturday, they said, okay, we'll cut the cake on Sunday. And Sunday came, and what a shame, there was no one to fetch it. Without a cake, they sat and ate potato chips and ketchup. Big size French fries, how they love tomatoes. Cover 'em up with lots of ketchup. Ketchup loves potatoes. Ketchup loves potatoes. I think there's one last verse. Well, so this guy from PEI they used to call Potato. He's got 3 kids, 2 girls, 1 boy, 2 spuds and 1 tomato. I might have got that backwards. They romp and run around Leamington, and when they all get hungry, the bottle drips all over the chips way down in the ketchup country. Well, big size French fries, how they love potatoes. Cover 'em up with lots of ketchup. Ketchup loves potatoes. Ketchup loves potatoes. Ketchup loves potatoes.
Yeah.
That's Canadian for you, folks.
What a great way to get into the weekend. Thank you.
Is that, I mean, like, you've never heard that song before, but you got to like it, I guess.
Oh, I've heard it before.
I know you've heard it before. I wasn't looking at you. I was looking at you.
I'm not that little or young. Trust
Well,
me.
you're little, but you're very kind. And so you have heard that before. And you know that Stompin' Tom could not get that song played on the radio.
Oh, there's so much great music they can't get on
Yeah.
the radio
Yeah.
these days.
But that one got on today, thanks to you
Beautiful.
guys.
Yeah,
and thank
that
you,
was
Danny
awesome.
Marks, for coming and
Winterfolk.
doing that for us. Winterfolk, when is it?
Next weekend.
Next weekend?
Yeah.
That's Valentine's weekend.
It's Valentine's weekend, and it's all around the corners of Broadview and Danforth. There's 4 clubs. Once you get out there, you just walk from place to place, and there's music, over 100 artists playing.
Amazing.
And when are you performing and where?
I'm not sure, but I'm there on the weekend.
All right.
I'm there through the weekend. I'll be there as much as I can because I think I've got like 3 gigs there. You know, he keeps us busy. It's a beautiful thing.
Okay, beautiful.
Thanks.
And I think the website's winterfolk.com.
Yes.
And Danny, when's your radio show so people can listen? and
Oh,
where?
Saturday nights on
you
some
go.
other place somewhere in the world.
You can always say what it is.
Yeah, you can always find that. I do have a website, DannyM.com.
Beautiful. Thank so much, Danny.
Thank you.
Okay. We're taking a break. We're coming back with Erica Wary right after this on LiquidLaunch, ThatChannel.com.